Hey guys, thanks for coming back to this week's educational series on how to invest in real estate. We're going to talk about flips this week, and just for disclosure, this is just my opinions, but I try to give you the pros and cons and what I think about it. Okay, let's just get started. So what it is that it's a short-term buy, renovate, and sell back to the market, right? And this is considered as trading, and it's not considered as investing technically because you're in and out in short term. It is the most dangerous way to get into real estate investment, but a lot of people might find it most attractive due to the glamorized, HD TV that you might be seeing on before and after shows. So let's talk about the profits. Why flips could be attractive. It provides short-term hits of income, right? So basically flips equals income equals paycheck. It is another way to earn active income, right? So basically it's a job, right? So if you are a full-time salary and you have a job already, think again before you try to take on a flip project, right? Because that means you'll have two full-time jobs, right? If the market is hot, it could be extremely profitable, right? So you could be a regular guy who is not really skilled at renovation, or you may be just buying the deal off MLS on the market. But if the market is good, you could be profiting, right? It's when market is bad that you need to have some skills, right? I've heard from flippers that some case if the market is super hot, they just put it right back to the market. They don't even renovate. So they bought it, and then by the time they close, it has appreciated so much that the margin is there to make sense to just offload it to the market without even touching a hammer, right? But the key is you have to understand your market inside and out, right? This is the thing, right? I invest in Hamilton, so I'm watching Hamilton every single day. I'm watching what is on the market, how many days it takes to sell, and what's selling, what type of building is selling, and what's the strategy the investors are pulling off. Who's buying them, right? What are the demographics like? And you understand the general trend. It's like watching the supermarket, right? You watch it every single day. You're gonna know how much that chicken is going to be worth, if it's on sale, if it's really on sale, or what's the market value is. So you have to watch your market, right, to get a good feel of when to enter and exit, especially when you're doing short term, right? And this is hard to achieve if you're, let's say you're doing one flip in Hamilton and the next one is going to be in Barrie, right? It's going to be very, very different. Even though at the time of purchase, numbers and everything might make sense, just the sheer fact that you don't understand the market or you're not watching it closely enough could be detrimental, right? Because while you're renovating, things could shift very quickly, right? So always have a secondary plan and also understand your market inside and out. Okay, number 3 profit is the profit margin, right? In the industry, how you say, the industry general for the flipper is to earn 10% of the repair value, right? So let's say you bought it at 350, and by the time you're done with some renovation and staging and putting back to the market, you sold it for 500,000, right? So the profit that you should be aiming for after all expense should be 10% of the 500,000. So in this case, it is 50,000, right? Which means that you only had about 100,000 of space to renovate and get it ready to sell, right? 100,000 may seem a lot, but in actual competitive market, you're buying property that needs a lot of work, right? Roofs, windows, maybe waterproofing, maybe structural issues. So 100,000 goes quickly, right? This is something that from talking to people who are flipping day in and day out, they're usually aiming somewhere between 60% of after repair value when purchased, right? So for a novice, for someone who is amateur in investing, how you get property 60% off, after repair value is that you have to be most likely looking off market, right? Off market means there's a lot of work and time involved in, getting that deal, from flyers to knocking on doors to talking to neighbors, right? So there may be some fees associated with that. So, it doesn't come often, right? Is the point. Okay, so let's talk about the cons. Warning, right? Warning, warning, warning. This is a full-time job, right? It is something most people get into real estate wants to get out of, not into. So if you know what I mean, that's a lot of people, they have a job and they get into real estate investing because they want to create wealth for themselves so that they can retire early, so they don't have to go to a job, right? Or they have options to go part-time. Flipping is the opposite. Flipping is you're getting yourself into full-time job again, right? So if you have another job going on, this flip is you're literally creating another job for yourself. So it's something that most investors get into real estate investing that want and you want to get out of, right? Most flippers regret selling, right? But they need, in order to deploy the capital to the next flip while having the income to live, right? So that's their job, right? The investment side, the long-term hold strategy, that's gonna build you wealth. But unless you sell or refinance, you can't really eat that. So flippers, you take on the project, you're selling it, and that hit of income is how they live, right? So it's the same thing as you working at a job and getting paid every 2 weeks. It's the same thing. You're trading your labor for the income, right? And understand the factor of true cost, right? A lot of people think, oh, I bought it for 350. If I sell it at 500, I make 150. No. So here are the breakdown of the cost, right? The renovation cost, right? This is probably the biggest one. How much does it take to turn this from A to B? Turn this from ugly, dirty, smelly property to a beautiful property that a family wants to buy in. What is the scope of work and how much does renovation cost, right? And are you doing the work yourself or are you contracting out to a general contractor, right? So understand your numbers in renovation, right? I think many people gets that. Second will be your realtor fees, right? So when you're buying from market, then you need to pay realtor fees. When you are selling, you have to pay again. So that's usually 5%. If you're buying off market and selling on market, then you're only paying 2.5%, right? So that's realtor fees. Second will be lending, right? So if you're gonna be doing this often, then most likely you're gonna be lending from private funds, right? It could be 8 to 10% borrowing fees. So understand your lending cost per month, right? That will be your carrying cost. So the money is not free, right? Unless you're getting from a lender, most likely a private lender is what makes sense for this type of strategy because you don't have to pay any penalties for breaking the mortgage, and you can repeat quite often. But understand your lending fees. Land transfer tax, right? So buyers always pay for this, right? So when you buy, you have to pay for land transfer tax, right? When you sell, you don't have to, but when you buy, you're always paying for this, right? Your lawyer will factor that in. Legal fees, right? So this is your lawyer, and oftentimes if you're doing private lending, you're paying your lawyer to close as well as the lender's lawyer to lend to you, right? And utilities. So oftentimes the property could be under renovation easily 3 months, right? Sometimes even 6 months. So during all those time, you're paying for the utilities, your gas, your water, your hydro, right? You're paying for all of them, right? If you have, any kind of rentals, you're paying for them. Insurance, you're paying for them, right? Make sure you have an insurance that understands, that will cover you and understands you're doing a flip, right? So, and after all this is not including your time, right? 3 to 6 months of labor if you're doing the work yourself, right? What's that worth, right? If you're $50 per hour, right? How much is that worth, right? This is all not taking into consideration when you're doing flips, right? The bottom line is you have very little room for error, right? Time is of essence and every day counts. So especially when you have a high interest private loan to the property, you're not messing around, right? You want to have every skilled labor, all the trades planned out, in and out, in and out, in and out, right? Yeah, everything sequenced. You don't have any blanks, right? So it is your planning goes a long way, and every day counts. That's why it's stressful. Next, this is something that you should consult your accountant, but flipping property is considered income tax. Income tax is 100% taxed, right? Versus investing, if you're doing long-term hold, if it's a rental property, when you sell, only 50% is taxed, right? Obviously, you can do this within corporation, blah, 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 or you can, flip your principal residence home. And there's many ways to get over this, but understand generally flips are considered as income tax, therefore 100% is taxable. Okay, my conclusion. You need unfair advantage to pull this off. This is not for everyone. Meaning, are you making money in the deal, right? So are you buying at significantly below market price, right? Most likely you need to buy off market, right? That means you're driving for dollars, right? You're driving around neighborhood, talking to neighbors. You're targeting a certain property in a certain street, right? You're sending flyers or writing mails or door knocking, right? So this is all time, and if you're using mass blast through like a Canada Post, then it costs money, right? It costs money to advertise. So where are you getting the deal? Does the deal make sense for a short-term flip? Are you making money in the renovation, right? So if you don't have a network of trades going into the flip, things can go real fast, right? Are you a contractor yourself? Are you doing it yourself, or you have a team, right? Or you're a skilled investor that you already have all your trades lined up, right? So renovation is another factor. Quickly, even a good deal can turn sour if your renovation is not inlined or streamlined, right? Are you okay to risk market turning, right? So what is your plan B if market turns and that you're not able to sell at a profit? Can you hold on to it, right? Can you get a lender to refinance from a private lender to a lender, right? Do you have that buffer, right? So make sure you have plan B. Can you hold on to it if you can't sell at a profit, right? It's the same thing. Well, too many people are focused on short-term instant gratification and unrealistic expectation from TV and social media. With the market being this competitive in Ontario, get rich quick is not going to happen, right? So you would have done much better holding onto a few properties. This is something I hear a lot from flippers, right? They said, yes, I made maybe 50,000 selling that flip, but if you were to hold on to it, right, now the profit is in like hundreds of thousands, right? So if you get to hold on to it, I think still to this day it's the best way to building wealth. And you mitigate your risk, right? Just one property alone can change your life, right? You don't need a ton of properties, right? So just one property, worst case scenario, you have no increase in price value. 25 years after, your mortgage is paid off and you're cash flowing. So to achieve true wealth and success as a real estate investor, you have to commit to the long-term game. There are much easier ways to achieve wealth than flipping properties. So that's my conclusion. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe, and go down to my link and download your copy of the free property analyzer spreadsheet. Thank you very much. See you next week.